Welcome to another episode on Oak and Rock Fatherhood. I'm your host, Zachary Small, joined by Anthony Miglierino. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Excellent, bro. What's going on?
A whole lot, man, a whole lot. But we're talking parenting, we're talking fatherhood. One of the things that we were talking about too is how our entire world is meant to serve us. We have apps to find girlfriends. We have apps to find people who just want to have sex. We have apps that will deliver food. We have applications that will move our money instantly. If you want it, click it. It'll show up at your door 1 to 3 days later. That's the world we're living in. We're living in a world where everything serves us, you know. But when it comes to parenting, that's a total flip on everything that we've been taught. And for people who've been brought up in a world where your entire existence is being met by needs are being met as efficiently as possible, when you become a parent, things change. And we have to change our mindset with that. Our children are not applications meant to serve us. Our children do not serve us. We serve them. And so for a lot of parents, the issue they're facing, a lot of the frustrations they're having, which I understand, I completely can relate to because I'm also a very busy man. But the issue they're having is that things don't happen fast enough. They're not as efficient as possible with children. And we need to let people know that's not a flaw, that's a feature. Slowing things down and connecting with your kids. So we're going to talk about the trap of instant gratification today. We're going to address all of that. But that is not a flaw. The instant gratification you have, you've been programmed that way. You've been conditioned to just snap your finger and have things happen. As a mother or father, that is not how it works with kids, as you're probably learning. Anthony, when it came to you and your wife operating and the level you're operating, you guys are dating because you were a parent young, I was a parent younger. You start rolling, you have that young energy, and then you bring a new life into the world and it slows everything down. How did you guys go about dealing with having to delay gratification when it comes to operating and doing things with the kids?
I think that was an excellent build-up, though, to the trap of instant gratification.
Thank you.
That was a solid point. For us, we have 3 kids, and I think it's something that's often overlooked. A lot of parents, especially fathers, right? They don't look at themselves. They're always focusing on the result or getting that instant gratification. And like everything you just described in the opening, we're stuck in this loop, right? This constant feedback loop of having things done instantly, right? Nobody brews coffee anymore; they use a Keurig. And you have to be of the mindset to understand that if you want something to really be good, to be successful, to have longevity, it can't be instant. There's very few things that happens with. And I think parenting is a perfect example. Of course, when I became a dad, I wanted my kids to stop crying when I told them, to listen when I told them, to clean their room, to put away their toys. Right? Of course, I wanted them to allow me to have that instant gratification. What I learned is that I have to control it within myself. Right? I can't boss my kids around to fill some need that I want. So if I want something done quickly, I have to show them the example. Right? I can't depend on a child to fulfill that need with me. And even more so, I think that we should be looking at long-term success rather than that instant gratification. And a lot of fathers, they want things done right away, right? Do it now because I said so. And it is falling into a trap, right? What do you teach your kid? What are they really learning? They're learning that things need to be done quick. We don't care how they're done. We don't care the quality, the standard that's upheld. What we care about is that you obey, that you listen, that my voice, my thoughts are what's important. And I think if you take that path with anything in life, you're going to be disappointed. Um, the problem with parenting is it shows up 20 years later with a child who is completely incompetent, a child who has no understanding to delay gratification and to put in the hard work and really be dedicated to building something that's going to benefit them later on in life.
As you were saying that, I was thinking of the servant mindset versus the master mindset. You're conditioning the servant mindset. You're teaching them that you must obey me, and they will be in that mindset until they have kids. And then the kid will obey them, and they're still a servant. They're obeying the system, they're obeying the government, they're obeying, the local policies that are around them, whether they agree with them or not, they're going to obey. But then when they have kids, they continue the cycle. And so it makes me think we have to separate these things. The things that are meant to serve us, we've been, for all of time, humans have looked to do it better. Why take a sailboat when you can put a motor on a boat? Why drive your horse when you have a car? Why the car when you have a train? Why the train when the plane? We just keep building and building to do things faster. We talk a lot about teleporting. That's never going to happen. But the idea of just snapping your finger and going somewhere, everybody's like, that's amazing. Because I don't want to go through the process of going over here or jumping in the car or doing that. I just want it to happen. That's awesome. I love the technology that's been built. But relationships are not, like I said, I was using applications, but they're not services. To improve your services, that's great. To improve your relationships, you slow things down. You don't try to speed them up, because every relationship has a timeline on it. Every single one, from the moment you meet, little sands start falling through. Either you go other ways, somebody dies, or just time to split, and just grow. You all grow one another. People move, people change. It is what it is. And so when you meet, if you're going to rush that, you're not expediting the process of you getting to where you want. You're rushing through the time that you have with that person. You're speeding up your time. And why would you want to do that? I enjoy the process of slowing it down. I actually just shared on Instagram, actually threw it on Twitter too. I had found some old photos of my son, and I was like, damn, like little man is like, I don't know, 4. And I was like, shit, it didn't hit me like, oh my God, I'm so old. It hit me like, look at how much time has passed. Look, like I look at him, then I remember us having that outfit for him. I remember putting his little polo on him, and to see him in that polo and his shirt. And then to now see him walking out of the house he's got his catcher's gear over here, his trombone in his other hand. He's got a backpack of all the school stuff in his back. I'm like, this little man now has his own life. And then I thought about myself. What have I done in that time? And him and I have done so many things together because I've made him a part of the process. I'm not looking, and it was in that moment I realized I'm not looking like this, like, oh, I don't have enough time with him. I will never in my life have enough time with him. That's just inevitability. You love your kids. You don't ever want to leave them. But the time we've had together, I'm like, we've done a lot of shit. We've grown exponentially. We've had so many experiences. What a cool life we're living together. That's awesome. That mindset cannot be had by a parent who has made their relationship with their child efficient to make it as fast as possible. And that is the regret that comes with it. When you speed this up, all of a sudden they're out on their own. You're like, oh, where'd the time go? Well, you wasted it. You made it you turned them into a Keurig kid instead of, grinding it up and then, like enjoying the process of your child. And I think that's the thing we have to focus on too. The trap of instant gratification is met with the process of parenting. Focus on the process, not the product. Because that instant gratification, dude, that's where you have that regret of, damn, I didn't take the time when I had it.
Yeah, and we all have similarly we all have the same amount of time to a degree, right? We're all living on this planet. We're all going about what we do, and to not value that, right? To always look for a quick way is a little disheartening, right? It's something, if we get stuck in that trap, we have to be aware that there's little lessons that we're teaching our kids about everything in life. And if we can't slow it down and sit down with them and say, hey, listen, I'm going to be committed to slowing my parenting down. I'm going to be committed to teaching you and guiding you as opposed to pushing you and rushing you. That will have an effect later on in life, right? Not just creating distance in a relationship, but what I see happening is we're teaching our kids that if we can't do something quickly, if it can't happen and we can't get success right away, then we should probably give up, right? We shouldn't look to improve. Maybe they adapt that mindset that, man, this is tough. I didn't get it done instantly. Why even bother? So it almost becomes a prophecy where you're letting them quit at something because we've never shown them, hey, man, you got to take the time. You got to put in the reps. You got to keep going. And eventually you'll see the bounty of that, right? You'll see prosperity. You have earned it. So I think that's a great determining factor in being the example. We need to show our kids what it means to prosper, what it means to really build, to have growth, and be committed to pursuing something that's going to benefit us later on in life. And I would never want my kids to think that they set out to do something and it didn't happen right away, so they should stop, they should quit, and then to think that that has something to do with what I've shown them. Right? That's, to me, that's horrible. I don't want my kids to be like, "Yeah, dad's a quitter. We might as well be quitters."
No, think about that though. We always say example, not advice. They're going to
Yeah.
follow what you do, not what you say. How many times have you had to share with your kids an example of something you've done that they're struggling with? And so, a job, working out, finances, businesses, you know, when you have lived it, when you have taken the long way, you put in the effort, you've grinded and grinded and grinded and hustled and picked your ass up and get knocked down, pick yourself back up, keep going. If you can tell your kid and show your kid, I mean, that's best. But if you can tell your kid, hey, when I was going through a hard time, I did this. That's much better than saying, yeah, move on. That's too hard. Let it go.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
man, like you have examples, you have real life experiences. And that's what I love about this channel. I don't give a fuck about theory. I don't care. I understand the theory behind things.
Follow
But to
the
me,
science.
you're much better when it comes to understanding the reasoning why things happen the way they happen. I really like the way you can dissect it and like, hey, this connects to that, and here's how. For me, it's this leads to that. And so here's how I can get you to do the thing that leads to that thing. And so it's a different approach, but I've noticed multiple times we both always fall back to something we've lived. Hey, I tested this. I tried this. I put this in motion. It blew the fuck up in my face, or this worked out great. So I learned what not to do. I learned what to do. But in both of those things, at no point was I saying, oh, I'm going to be a great dad, but never gone and put it into play. And what we're saying right now is you have to put it into play. You have to, like the things we're talking about with instant gratification, you can't just listen to us and understand this concept. You have to go. I'm trying to think of an example. If you're painting a room, you got to let your kids come
Slow
in with
down.
you.
Take your time.
Let
Compile
them
your
paint
thoughts.
the room. If you're going to change the oil, if you're going to change a tire, I'm trying to think of like the things that I did with the kids that like really slowed it down.
Anything.
Like,
Load the dishwasher.
yeah. We were just talking about something. I can't think of it, but it was like going to the store or something.
Oh,
When you
yeah.
bring the kids with you and they got to get in the car, they got to go to the bathroom, they want a snack, they got to, and you're like, man, I'm just trying to go pick up this thing. And you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. Let's not rush so I can go to the store, get the screws and come back. Go ahead. Get your snack, get your water, go to the bathroom. Come on. We're going to take a trip. I'm going to show you in the process. I go to this store. Here's the guys I talk to. If I don't know where something is, here's who I ask. You teach them these life skills. Why? What are we trying to do here? What's the point of parenting? It's not for you to rush through and just solve everybody's problems. You're teaching the child to become a functional adult who can operate within society to get the life they want to live. That's the aim. That doesn't happen when you try to snap your fingers and rush through everything because they don't learn that. They don't know how to do what you did.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what we were saying, right? Instead of snapping your fingers and have them go to the store because there might have been something you forgot or something that you need at the moment. We have to remember that as a parent, there's two of us, or maybe three or four, depending on how many kids. Some guys I know have 9 kids, but we have to remember that, right? It's not just about us anymore. It's not just about what we need. So when my kids were younger, it took a little while to understand this concept that in order for my child to feel part of the family, I had to accept them as that, right? So if I said, I need to go to the store now, and they were like, well, I don't want to go to the store, right? I'm playing Legos. Okay, cool. I'm not going to make it an issue, right? The world is not going to collapse if I don't go and get whatever was needed, right? If it's a screw that I need to repair something, it can wait. If there was nobody else home, I wouldn't force my kid into position that they didn't want it to be because I needed that right now. If you take a step back, you show your kids a little patience, you show them that, hey, I care more about you than, fixing that thing. That's how you work on the relationship. And, I see this as, it might sound simple, but these are lessons that we're constantly teaching our kids. How many people are stuck in mediocrity? How many people think that if they don't get things done now, if they don't find success right away, similar to what I was saying before, that they give up. But what about the people that just stay, right? What about if you've worked at a job and you were like, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire in 3 weeks at this job, and then it doesn't happen, and instead of quitting, you just stay there and you run the course, and you never have any success, and you never do anything good. That is also the mindset that we instill in our kids, right? Because that's part of the trap. Part of the trap is just staying there in mediocrity and never pursuing something better than it could be. And you don't want to give up, right? I said before, we give up too easily, but sometimes they don't want to give up because they get comfortable. So they might be doing something that's not successful because they can't see that there is something better long term, but maybe they need to drop this, right? Maybe they need to reposition themselves and they need to figure out a better plan. So I think it stunts the growth process, right? It really destroys the this growth mindset that we want our kids to have, and instead they get stuck.
Yeah, I mean, we were having a discussion before we recorded about parents disabling their kids, and you're preventing them from ever developing the muscle needed to get through the obstacle. And when you say, well, I don't want you to be sad right now, stop crying, whack. The kid doesn't learn, the kid feels pain and is sort of redirected. I feel I've got to hide this. I can't learn how to deal with this pain. I just got to hide the pain because it's making dad bad to show it, or mom. And so they don't learn how to process the emotion. And so why do we see kids who are depressed? Or on the other side of the spectrum, why do we see so many kids who are so angry? Because they have no idea how to control it. Because every time it showed when they were younger, it was just, they smacked away. They never got to develop that muscle. And so what these parents did is they disabled their child. That desire for maintained comfort, maintained just even keel, their even keel, their comfort at the expense of the child's development is what's causing this to get worse and worse and worse, generation after generation. I mean, if you go back, parents are still hitting their kids, but they had, I would say, less distraction that would lead to the lifestyle that they're living now. They were still hitting the kid, but they might have been a little more present in other areas. So they were home more because whatever, they didn't have to be on Zooms. They didn't have, work 24/7. Like when they left work, they were home. Now there's a whole bunch of things that go with that. I'm not saying the past is better. I'm not trying to romanticize the past at all. But I think we have so many distractions now that there's always something else to turn to besides the kid. Always. There's always something on TV, the computer, your phone. There's always something you want to do because that leads to maintaining your comfort level. That any pop off of the child, be it a tantrum, sadness, anger, frustration, whatever is coming in, hunger. Parents get annoyed when the kids are hungry. I'm hungry. Shut up. Don't ask me again. Your kid's hungry. Like, why is that an issue? Your child is telling you, I feel hunger. What are they supposed to do? What are you saying this child is supposed to do when they're sad, they're hurt, they're hungry? Not tell you because that would bother you? You're their parent. They're supposed to be like, hey, I have a want, I have a need. What do we do here? And you're supposed to show them, all right, I'll be cooking dinner soon. Or, hey, have some water. Maybe that'll fill you up if there's no food around. Or, as we do in our home, we've got a bin and it says kid snacks and it's loaded with fruit. Go ahead, eat whatever you want, whenever you want. You want a banana? Cool, they're there. You want apple? Like, I don't care when you eat. I was not raised like that. You ate at 7 o'clock, noon, and 5. That's when meals were. I used to be able to tell you the time by my hunger level. If I was hungry, it was 5. If I was starving, it was 5:30. Dude, like it was magic, man. I didn't need a clock. I'm like, yo, it's got to be around 5. Oh, it's 4:59. Yeah, I'm hungry.
Did they ring a bell?
They whistled. And my brother, sister, and I would come running like dogs to the house. It was a very efficient system, for real.
Yeah.
But I hear this and I see these kids, and like when I hear a parent say, we'll eat when we eat, I'm like, come here, kid. I'll listen to you. Like, what's up? You hungry? Or are you bored? And then I'll find out, like, no, the kid's starving. Like, here you go, dude. Like, let's have a snack and let's go do something. There's nothing wrong with the kid, but the kid never learns how to develop, oh, I can take care of myself. Or, oh, I can talk to my parent. They bottle that up and they stop doing it because the parent's pissed off. That, to me, is one of the most detrimental aspects to parenting we see today, is how parents just, they almost think or they act Like the kid's supposed to raise itself. Here's your screen. Here's your tablet. Go to school. You come home, just go in your room and play. And then we'll talk at dinner and then go away again. Go play your video games. Go on your computer. Where is the parent inserting? But then the kid turns 18 and they're like, where'd the time go? Oh my God.
Or you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Why don't you know how to do anything?
Yeah. You're supposed to, you're 18. Go be an adult. You never taught them how to adult.
It's insane. But I agree, man. That's what we're seeing. I mean, I would say there's a lot of issues behind that, right? We can go to single family homes, divorced homes.
I almost cracked open that can of worms, man. But I was like, there's so much.
But even both parents working full time, right? There's a lot of different issues. But I think it's important to be aware of it, right? If we are really to take our job serious as parents, we have to make sure we are the example, right? We can't be distracted. We can't fall victim to instant gratification and having kids just so we can say we're a parent instead of actually parenting. Because it's almost a form of neglect, right? It's not being present. It's not really raising. It's not raising your kids, and neglect is abuse, right? As much as we flame the fire or the I can't even think of it, but
that made no sense.
Yeah, as much as
and it's recorded forever.
Yes, I love it. That ain't gonna stop me, dude. It's been a lot worse than that.
Let's go.
But we talk about hitting kids a lot, right? And neglect is the other side of that. And we have to be responsible for our parenting duty, right? Especially as fathers, especially as the leaders of the home. Our kids need that example. And I can guarantee you, if you're a father, you're listening, and you start taking small steps to make changes, right? Instead of getting upset that your kid doesn't jump at the threat of your voice, if your kid doesn't listen right away when you tell him something, and taking that step back, right? Taking a breath and saying, hey, what could I do to be more effective in this moment? What could I do to make sure my child sees me, they hear me, that's not in a threatening way, that's going to build resentment, that's going to build up distance in the relationship? What can I do to repair the relationship? What can I do to make things better? And if you go down that path, you have to eliminate spanking. You have to eliminate yelling, screaming. Eventually, you're going to eliminate punishing, because guess what? Your kid will start to hear you. And when they hear you, they're connected, they're part of the family. And that's when you start dropping the science on instant gratification, delayed gratification. When your kids hear you, if you're just screaming and barking orders, nothing's going to process, right? Nobody wants to be yelled at. Nobody learns in stress. It's when we're able to manage that stress that the real process of growth happens.
I would say in that too is the point of life. If we're going to go real big picture here, when you can slow things down with your kids, you and I, we had a weekend getaway this past weekend, little retreat. We had a bunch of FOE men, good time. The TV didn't go on. We weren't rushing from thing to thing to thing. We were there and present. I don't think that many adults who've not put in the reps would be able to do that. They would go out of their mind looking to, we got to do something, go somewhere, be something. Like, what's the next thing? Because that need for satisfaction and gratification to just constantly be met. You're always looking for something exterior to hit that next button for you. Like, I don't know if it's like the IV of dopamine, or I'm sure, there's somebody who could tell me exactly what that is, but they're looking for that distraction. Like, all right, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. When you can slow things down and connect with your kids, and that is probably the greatest test of patience, because they'll do it wrong. They'll do it backwards. They'll take them 50 times. You're like, just press the red button. And they're like, yellow, blue, when you're like, all right, it's cool, man. I'm here with you until you hit the red button. You don't care. That's when you can go places and you're happy just being there. You're content just living and existing. And I'm not saying you're just floating through life. I'm saying you're content with life. You enjoy the process. And so if you're looking, like a lot of men are killing debt. Instead of saying, oh my God, I'm in this debt, you're like, I'm in the process of destroying it. I'm content with where I am while I'm still not satisfied because I want to go somewhere. That's a nice place to be. For people looking to lose weight, a lot of, when they first start out, they're like, I'm sore, I've spent all this time in the gym, but I'm still fat. I hate this. That the parent who has slowed things down and can relate to a kid can make it through that phase
Yeah.
because they've learned it's not about just snapping your fingers getting a result. It's about the delayed gratification. It is a trap, dude. It's a fucking trap because when you have to have all those needs met, your life turns to shambles because you'll never be fully optimized in all aspects, nor are you supposed to be. Your applications, your services are. Let them be refined as possible. That's a good system to have that's not filled with waste. Your relationships cannot be put into the same category. And we got to split those out. And I think that would lead to a lot of growth, but also a reduction in anxiety, a reduction in the frustrations and the depression, and then just that like hyperactive mind of needing the next thing. You can sit and have a conversation for 25 minutes about one thing. You can sit and have a discussion. You know, Joe Rogan once said, if the person can't talk to me for 3 hours about the subject, I don't want to talk to him because he wants to talk to people who are interested in whatever the thing is. How many fucking videos have we done on parenting?
Yeah, when is he having us on?
Start banging the door. Joe, I'm looking at you. We're ready. You know, when you care about something, you can truly, really dive into that without getting distracted and pulled away. You know, it's a gift you give yourself as much as your kids. Yeah. And so I honestly think that the entire life experience, not just the relationship with the child, but life would improve if we could delay our gratification, but especially so when it comes to parenting.
Yeah, man, that's solid point, Zach. I don't want to keep saying that this episode, give you too much credit. No, and like you said, man, even outside of the anxiety that it creates, what is wrong with just living in the moment, right? Enjoying the process that you're going through. Like you said at the meetup last weekend, I didn't have to do anything. I was content sitting down face to face with men that I've spoken to on Zooms, in the Slack, and just hearing what they had to say, having a conversation. I was content. To me, that brought great joy to my life to be in that position. It didn't have to happen fast. We didn't have to do anything crazy or extravagant. We didn't have to go blow shit up or shoot guns. And I was cool just sitting down, relaxing, talking to men that I share a common theme with of becoming a better man, becoming a better father. So you do have to teach your kids the same thing. Enjoy the process, right? It's not always about reaching the finish line. It's about what you're building in between, how you're growing, and it's about becoming better. And a lot of times that goes right over our heads as parents, right? We're always focused on outcomes. You need to get straight A's. You know, you need to be the best on the sports team. You need to be well behaved. You need to listen all the time. Again, I can keep repeating the same nonsense that we tell ourselves. But what about those moments where you allow your kid to help fill the dishwasher, and instead of focusing on if every plate is in the right spot, you just take a step back and say, this is awesome. My kid's actually helping me. They're learning to clean up after themselves. So I think that's where the real gold is.
You know, one of the points that I've been meaning to make and that I just keep forgetting because this is solid content, man. Like that is solid right there. Like let them just do the damn thing. I actually rearrange my dishwasher every time my kids put it in because it's all like weird. I'm like, this is not efficient. The water's not going to hit them, but I don't ever tell them. They help me out. They put it away. They want to help. Like, oh, I got it. And then I look at them like, that plate's backwards. That bowl's upside down. The water's never going to hit it. I got to fix this. I've become that dad. Like straight up. I'll be honest.
I do that occasionally. I'm not going to lie.
All right, cool. See, here we come admitting things. It's okay. One thing I wanted to point out too is there's this concept that you can beat your kids to being good humans. You know, my kids are disciplined. I'm disciplining them. Nope, you're hitting them. I'm toughening them up. Nope, you're just hitting them. You're just trying to get an instant result. When you don't do that and you teach your kids how to handle these things and grow these things, when you make it through that phase, kind of like the dude trying to lose weight, and they really like they have the body, and now it's I look good. Now you can do whatever you want. I want to look great. I want to build muscle. I want to lean out, like whatever. You're in a much better place than because you know you're not fat anymore. With parents, when kids are, I'm not going to put an age on it, but when they're younger, you know, they're learning everything. When you develop the patience then to allow them to build the skill sets they need in life, when they're older, and mine are 12 and 9 now. So somewhere at that point, it starts to shift a little. They're set. They've already built the muscles. They know what they're doing. And while you'll face unique issues that come with being older, you're not going to have the issues that a lot of people still have. My kids don't just randomly cry and throw tantrums. If they're upset, they'll come talk to me. Like, hey, I'm dealing with this, or I got to figure that out. They know how to handle a lot of things thrown their way, to where I have the kids who, when we sit down, will come and sit down. If I call their name, they'll come up and help me. If I say, hey, we're going to do this thing, we now have a system where it just works. And to anybody looking at us, you would be like, oh, you've trained your kids so well. I'd be like, I didn't train my kids. I raised them to be functional adults, to where they're acting like that now. Now they're 9-year-old, 12 years old. They're not adults in any capacity outside of they have learned to manage their emotions, which is better than most adults I know who are 30 plus. And so what you're seeing is the product of investing that time and being patient early on. Peaceful parenting is nothing new to me. This is how I started the journey. I've shared on one hand that I've like swatted their butts, and that's like over the diaper, on the jeans, and it was always my fault. My kids don't remember it. Like they were like 2. It was always a loss on me. But that mindset of wanting to connect, of wanting to let them do their thing, of speaking to them with respect, that's when they came out of the womb. I was like, fuck yeah. Why would I want to rush that? Why would I get mad when my kid wants to come help me? Like, I love my time with my child. And like I said, the gift that Zach, my son was born in 2009. So that Zach is looking at this Zach and saying, hey, you're welcome. Because this Zach is not looking at my kid with regret, like, oh my God, I wasted so much time. Like, no, dude, I did have my kid sitting next to me when I was building whatever. I did let my kid come when I was building the shed. My daughter was there the whole time, and that slowed everything down. And I loved it.
Yeah, man.
Everything we do, I've had them be a part of it. I brought them with me everywhere. And guess what? Now they're just cool people, and we want to be together and do things. And all that goes back to just putting in the reps. So as you're listening to this, understand you have to apply it. You have to sit with them. You've got to slow things down and build the relationship. It's worth the investment. And you will get, I don't like to word it like this, but I'll just say it for those who are of this mindset. You will get your children to where you want them to be. You want your kids functional. You want your kids, self-sustainable. You want your kids to have the mindset where they can handle their stuff. You want your kids to know they can turn to you if they need something, and not ones that always need something because they haven't developed any ability to go out and get it themselves. And so I wouldn't say I'm training my kid. There's no like subcontext to how I'm raising them. Like, oh, I'm going to get what I want. They're just becoming functional people. They're becoming good people. And that's who I roll with. And so for me, it's just set the example and let them kind of develop the skills along the way. And like we've said multiple times, you got to show up. Like you can't, this isn't theory. You've got to be there with them. You've got to suck it the fuck up. Like there's no rush to any of the things you're doing. I don't want to speed the process up at all. If we can slow it down, to be cool. We're here. Just do the best you can do. The hours are going to go by. Your hours are going to go by. Mine are going to go by. And like I said, I looked at those photos from when he was 4. Now he's 12. 12 years from now, I'm going to be looking at photos from him today. And I'm going to say, man, how much time? And my hope and what I put into the message is I did absolute best during that time. The hours we had together, I took advantage. I slowed things down. We had some fun. I taught him some things. And now he's teaching me things. He's going to bring me out. We're going to go and get after it. And so my future self is going to look at my current self and be like, thanks, bro. Good job.
Yeah, man. No, listen, I think I have a motorcycle gang just drove by. But if you if you weren't taking notes during this episode, I highly recommend you do. I think I'm going to have to rewatch it and take notes because there were a lot of great points dropped in this. Just about being a great man, being a better father, and like you said, Zach, doing the best you can. That's something that we have to think about more clearly. We have to really question if that's what we're doing. Are we really doing the best we can as fathers? And if you guys like the content, like, subscribe, hit the notification button. And we got a lot of big things coming on. A lot of stuff for the future of Oak and Rock Fatherhood. This has been another episode. Be well.